Welcome to another Modern Mind, Ancient Book, where we are going back to move forward. We are seeking love for the law, the prophets, and the writings. We're bringing them forward now into the New Testament. My name is Roger. I'll be your host. The New Covenant, that's right. My name is Roger. I'll be your host. We've got Pete with us today. Pete,
Good
say
evening.
hello.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. It is Friday. We're on our way to nightfall, and we will be giving thanks and teaching my children about the glories of God's creation, and lighting some candles and eating some good food. If you'd like to reach out to us, please do Modern Mind Ancient Book at gmail.com. And we hope that you enjoy listening to this. We certainly enjoy having you here. Today, we are going to talk about the book of Romans. Yes. So, oddly, the book of Romans was written before even any gospel was written. Well, yeah, and circulated, right? So that's pretty astounding.
Right.
I think most Bible believers believe that, Matthew was the very first book ever written, and it was just spread all over the world. Right.
The order they're in the Bible, that's the order they were written.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No, that's not the case. It's these pastoral epistles. Yes. What's an epistle, Pete?
It's a letter.
A teaching letter.
Yes, a teaching letter.
Right? So,
or a correction letter.
Or most of the time a correction letter. Yeah, Paul, in this case, who is the author of this one, was definitely... this is a theological dissertation, right? The book of Romans, the letter of Romans, is a unique document in the New Testament. Right. It's well studied.
Yes.
Very, very much expounded upon. There are people who do their PhDs on small parts of this letter. Right. So the book of Romans, it's a really important part of the New Covenant system. Mm-hmm. I would say at this point, a lot of theology really gets well understood, right? Because the church is still forming.
Right. And there's a lot of false theology going around at this time as well.
Which is one of the reasons why this letter was originally circulated. Right. And perhaps the title has some meaning in that way, right? Because nobody had been to Rome yet, really. So, we'll get into the letter now. So, the title of this epistle is the place of its destination. Right. It was being sent there.
Right. As in the other letters we've studied so far.
Yeah. Again, these guys were very, very strategic. Right. They were kind of going along the Mediterranean coast, hitting port cities. Right. The gospel had made it to Rome. But none of the disciples yet. And so now they're sending a letter to Rome because apostolic management of the program is that they go, they touch, they lead, they set up, they get leadership in place, and then they move to the next place.
And then come back around.
And touch it again.
What they've done.
That's apostolic ministry. Right? So in this case, they hadn't even gotten to Rome yet, but there was a need to teach. So, and that's actually a very interesting development, because how far away from Rome is Jerusalem?
It's not an easy one-day journey.
No, it's quite a ways. Yes. And in Rome is a whole different demographic of people who have a very varied worldview, but are also highly pagan. So, good thing there's Jews there, of course. There are obviously Jewish people.
Well, you've got all the northern influences there, the northern European influences in Rome as well.
That's right. They're
the
tied
Germanic and stuff.
In the Slavic, all that stuff is going on in that general area. The Romans, too, they had a very wide reach, right? It wasn't just the Middle East. So, just an interesting thing. So, before anybody had gotten there, now they're sending a letter there because there was a need to touch Rome at this point, without them having gone there, which is astonishing how quickly the gospel was spreading, but because of the strategic nature of the placement of their ministries. They had sent it out on boats.
It went direct from Thessalonica to
or
Rome,
Corinth.
Or whatever.
Yeah, just astonishingly well executed, this plan. So, the tradition that Peter founded the church is contrary to the biblical historical evidence. Right. The church in Rome had started because the gospel arrived there.
Right.
Not because any person arrived there. Well, a lot of people arrived
there, yeah.
Believing this Nazarene sect, the way of Jesus.
And they just got together and started meeting as
started having
what we call a church.
Yeah. So the best theory suggests that the church was begun by converts who accepted Jesus as their Savior on the day of Pentecost, when the disciples spoke in a multitude of languages in Acts. So it went all the way from Jerusalem by proselytes, by either Jewish believers or Gentile proselytes, or maybe the mix of the two, all the way back to Rome by this point. And was being touched by this growth in the Mediterranean, in the Greek, in the Macedonian. I mean, just major growth. These believers would have been united with many others from Asia Minor, which is the Turkey, Macedonia area, who had moved to Rome over the years for business and personal reasons. Important key word there. Over the years. Yeah, it was. So these ministries, they're getting along a bit now, right? Yeah. Jesus was crucified in around 30. Right? 30 something, 32, whatever it was. And this is, what is it? 58? Yeah, 58.
58. Late 50s.
Yeah, so 30, 40, 50, about
25 years.
25 years.
25 years.
And
between 20 and 30, depending on...
Since his crucifixion. And this is during the third missionary journey. Paul had already been out on the road for 4 or 5 years at this point. So, this worldview is new, but established and establishing itself. So the author obviously is Saul of Tarsus, right? Paul, who was mentored by Maimonides, who was from a large port city, a Roman citizen, spoke Greek and Aramaic, knew how to read Hebrew, knew the scriptures very, very, very well.
Yes.
Just like a premier go-between. Right? He's kind of like Josephus. So you have a Jewish historian, and by the way, to the listener, if you want to learn the history of the Bible in a very Western way, you can on Audible, or you can buy the books. There's 20 of them. The Josephus Flavius Jewish Antiquities. He wrote the entire history of Israel in the first century in Greek for a Western audience. And so, during this time, and that's a secular source. But during this time, the way of God, the stories of God, they were opening up to the entire world. And that's really what Romans is about in general. That's what this book is for. So Paul wrote this being a great emissary between the two cultures. Being a Jewish Jew, a very, very Jewish man who practiced the law. He took the Nazarene vow 3 times. Who was able to visit the temple, partake in the temple, offered sacrifices, kept Jewish law, but at the same time was reaching out and seeing God work among Gentiles. And not just proselytes. Not just people who were familiar with Judaism. But also pagan worshipers were now starting to come in even larger numbers than proselytes and Jewish people, which is a very big turn compared to where it started. Now it's attracting holy others.
Yeah. People were starting to go right from paganism to the way.
Yeah.
Instead of paganism to Judaism and then to the way.
That's right, which is a stark change. Right. Because Judaism never had that sort of power. It had an appeal.
Right. Because
of its, sort of ascetic and strict nature. Right. It is appealing to some people, right? And I love the law for those reasons. Like it causes you to be a person who has to think about and temper yourself based on the wisdom of the Creator.
Right.
I mean, it's appealing in that way. But the Spirit of God was just, boom, drastically changing people. So, yeah, this is Paul. And Paul was a convert through being blinded by a light on the Emmaus Road and, actually being harmed by it.
Right.
And then being given back his vision by a Christian.
Right.
And hearing the voice of the living God. Right. Paul, why do you persecute? Right. And so, Jesus appeared to him. Mm-hmm. And this is also one of the struggles. Right? Because he didn't see Jesus face to face.
No.
Paul was probably just a baby.
Right.
He was a very young man. And in this case, he's probably not that old of a guy right here in these books. Yeah. So,
well, in Jewish or Christian folklore, shall we say, he held their coats while they stoned Stephen.
That's right.
And if he wasn't involved in the stoning, he had to be under 12 years old.
Yeah.
At that point in time.
That's right.
He was a child.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, really. So if you're secular, you just say, okay, it's growing because it's organic and this is what people want to believe. If you're more spiritually minded, you can see God's hand through these things, right? He brought up a man who was raised under the law to become an emissary to Gentiles to help lead them back into this way. Right? In the book of Romans is particularly great at this because it makes low rabbinic Judaism, right? It makes high Jesus Judaism, but it also gives room for Gentiles to come at the rate they're coming. And so the Romans is one of the books actually that people would use maybe against the sort of worldview that maybe we're adopting, that the law is the wisdom of God and that it's good to practice it, right? Because they would say, well, Romans says no. But Romans doesn't say no. Romans says, whoa, guys, the demographic is changing. We have to make room for these people to come in as they are and to learn the way. Mm-hmm. And now let me tell you, you don't have to go get circumcised right now. The covenant through Abraham is by faith. Not by what your skin has had done to it. And so there's a number of themes in here, and what it does, and this is the interesting thing about the Bible, is if you take what you believe you know by face value, you're probably not actually understanding it. Because it's indeed complicated.
Oh yeah.
It takes a long time of just sitting and thinking and praying and reading and learning. We've done a lot of books to this point, and there's always been a desire or a focus to understand what the original author meant to the intended recipients of these words, right? Because we're not 2,000 years ago in our thinking. And they had different ways of imagining things.
Oh yeah.
Right? Words.
Well, they had a different frame of reference.
Altogether
than we do.
And it's just not contemporary to us. And it really is important to be humble before the word. And this is true whether you're secular or religious.
Oh yeah.
Because what we read and assume we know has to be tested.
Yes.
Right? In biblical scholarship, the scientific method is very much used.
Oh, yeah.
You will take a section or a book.
Right.
You'll make a hypothesis based on what you've read, based on how you see the word connections, and then you'll test that to come to a viable theory on what it means. Yep. Right? The scientific method is not exclusive to atheists.
No.
It's very much a method that human beings use, in biblical scholarship particularly in this case, to come to real conclusions about meaning. And the book of Romans is dense.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Paul's run-on sentences, and if you can read Greek, he makes up words.
Right.
Compound words, he just throws together. Used nowhere else in the Greek world, but Paul does.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
He's just a phenomenally deep thinker.
Right.
And, you know, it's philosophy for the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, good stuff. Don't be fooled into thinking that the rest of the Bible doesn't matter because Romans said so.
Right.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Romans does not say that.
No.
Let's talk a little bit about what it says. So, Romans says all the world is guilty of sin.
Right.
And it's under God's judgment.
Right.
There are pagans.
Right.
And how did they become guilty of sin?
Through Adam.
Yes. And the invisible attributes of God's eternal power and divine nature are present in their experiences.
Right.
They don't die apart from the law without having a law within them.
Right.
Right? Death still enters human beings, whether you have Moses' written law or not.
Right.
Because you know
if you only
wrong.
died for a violation of the law and you don't know the law, how can you violate it?
Yep.
So you would never die. Would be the
how could you
running
be guilty?
that out as far as it goes.
But Paul says, well, they do have a law.
Right.
It's inside of them. All these people know what they've done is wrong when they do it, and therefore they are judged guilty.
Right. 99.99999% of the people know what's right and wrong.
Yeah, unless you're like psychopaths.
Right. There might be a very small percentage that don't.
Which I wonder if they don't actually know it's wrong too.
Yeah.
Because even psychopaths, when they get caught, they're like, I'm so glad you got me.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Right.
You know? And here's the argument. The moral nature of human beings.
Right.
We have a conscience.
Right.
In our kindness, we feel good.
Right.
In our patience, we feel good.
Right.
But if you reject repentance and you keep self-righteousness and you believe it's about your works, but you're not willing to admit your bad works, you're still guilty.
Right.
That's the argument of Romans.
Right.
But the Jewish people had a covenant.
Right.
And they had a law. And they were given circumcision through Abraham. Right?
Yes.
But they've rejected the covenant.
Right.
And the law is not righteousness. It became hypocritical.
Hypocritical, yep.
So in both cases, mankind is condemned because no one is good.
Right.
That's the argument of Romans.
The letter of the law overtook the meaning of the law.
Added to it. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the same. Go back to the moralist or the pagan. Right. It's the self-righteousness of it.
Right.
It's the raising ourselves above God. Well, you know, if you can't, okay, let's take washing of hands.
Right.
In the law, you wash your hand. Well, the priests wash their hands and their feet when they enter the temple.
Right.
The Pharisees made it that you had to wash your hands in a ritual way.
Right.
Before eating, before doing lots of things.
Right.
But that's not the law.
No.
Right.
It was entering the temple for the priests.
And they condemned Jesus for doing what they created.
Right.
Self-righteousness.
Yep.
And so, let's say Caesar.
Right.
He wants something, so he goes and takes it.
Yes.
Because he's the power.
Right.
Self-righteousness.
Yep.
Right? So, all people are without a defense.
Right.
and without an excuse before God. That doesn't sound like the Old Testament doesn't matter.
Right.
That it was somehow annulled and not useful.
Right.
It sounds like God is just.
Right.
I think that's the argument. Mm-hmm. Right? So, righteousness and justification are by faith in Jesus.
Right.
Period.
That's all. Nothing else.
That is separate from the law.
Right.
But believing, loving, and living Jesus,
you'll fulfill the law.
You start keeping the law.
Yep.
It's getting complicated.
Yes.
Abraham...
It's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg.
That's right. Abraham believed God and was justified apart from the things he did. But he still had to do them, didn't he?
Right. He still had to do them. And he still wanted to do them.
Yes. Abraham was made righteous before he was circumcised. Right. But then he got circumcised.
Right. Circumcision was nothing more than a sign of the covenant.
Exactly.
It wasn't the covenant. It was a sign of it.
That's right. The covenant was made.
Right.
And now you partake in the sign.
Right.
Abraham received the promise by faith apart from the law.
Right.
But he still offered sacrifices.
Right.
And he still poured out offerings.
Right.
And he still made altars.
Right.
Justification provides peace, grace, love, and reconciliation.
Right.
Are you justified apart from what you do? That's what people believe Romans says.
No.
No. If you're justified, you'll do.
You'll do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's complicated.
Very.
It takes a lifetime of thought and intention and prayer to understand what God, who God really is, and to actually love Him by doing what He wants and needs from us.
Right.
It's two ways.
Right.
If you love me, you do what I say.
Right.
Jesus said that.
That's what He said.
So then Romans couldn't contradict Him.
Right.
Right? So there's Adam and sin, but then there's Jesus and grace. Does grace overlook and never condemn, or does grace give you opportunity even though you're evil?
It gives you opportunity even though you're evil.
Interesting.
Evil is still there.
Yeah.
You know, God's God. He could have erased evil immediately if He wanted to.
And what is the opportunity for? To keep sinning?
No.
No, it's
to come
to change.
To Jesus. Right.
Yeah. It's to change. To change from death to life.
Right.
From the fall to the free gift of life. From judgment to righteousness.
Right.
From condemnation to forgiveness.
Right.
To find grace, not the law. Because we're not justified by what we do, but if we love God, we're going to do
we'll
what
do it and
He
wants us to.
Yeah. There's a choice.
Right.
But the law is not useless.
Right.
If you love Him, you'll love it.
Right.
It's complicated.
And the law is good on a lot of practical levels if you start reading the dietary laws and stuff in Leviticus.
If you understand, let's just take it on a super plain note.
Right.
Whom you sit down with,
right,
in what conversations you have, and whom you learn to adore. If you're eating with people on a regular basis, you love them.
Right.
Those are your people.
Right.
When you
more so in the time of Paul and Jesus.
1,000%. We're pretty individualistic for the most part, but I can tell you, I really enjoy having good meals with people that I love.
Americans in particular, from having traveled to Mexico and a bunch of other places on business, they're much more meal oriented.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. Most cultures are really developed around the idea of being together, like communal meals almost, right? Your family comes together, you talk about your day, you talk about what you love, you talk about the things, and that's what the Bible expects from us. The Bible expects from us that meals would be ritual.
Right.
That they would be religious practice. And so if you understand that about the Bible, then when you go back to the kosher laws, the ways of eating, then you understand that it's not just the individual food items.
Right.
It's how the individual food items take you out from cultures that you can't be involved with because they are religious in nature, and they pull you away from God, and they teach you things that you should not be involved in because it's part of that religious expression. And so knowing that and then learning what exactly it was tied to, these individual items, now you can take that information and bring it into who you are, and then use that wisdom that you've now gained to be careful who, what, when, where, and why. Right? So it's the law's wisdom. It's just wisdom writings. That's all it is. So for us, for instance, if let's say I met some really, really nice Indian people, meaning from India, but they were very staunch practitioners of Hinduism, right? And I went over there, and they made really, really good food, and I had really great times with them, and they liked me a lot. At some point, because that culture is very family oriented, I might get offered, if I'm a single man, to marry into someone's family. I've been part of this for long enough. You know, they just want me to be a Hindu. They want me to enjoy life. They've really liked having me around. My daughter's 21. You know, you're a great part of the family. In there, I went from a good Christian man, and I got sucked into a whole other world over meals. Don't boil a goat in its mother's milk. Indian people
in yogurt
make yogurt and meats, right? So it's just, there's a lot to it. It takes a lot of study. We're going to get to it when we get back and we start going through the stories of these again, and we'll talk about this wisdom, because it is wisdom. If that's offensive to someone, I'm sorry. But people become the things that they associate themselves with. And that is what the law is combating, right? So, okay, enough about the law. I just wanted to labor that point, because you and I both know that Romans does not nullify God's previous worldview, right? It just shows us the truth about how coming into covenant with God it doesn't require you to be righteous. It requires God to justify you, and God to move in you, and then you do those things. Then you want to do those things. Exactly. And you love to do those things.
You love to do those things. They come naturally to you after a while.
That's right. That's how I see it. I have really enjoyed. I have mezuzahs on all my doors. Right. I love teaching my kids on Friday. I love reading about the law and uncovering these little nuggets, and to me, it means the world to me. I have not. From the first time I read it until today, that has always been true for me. So, freedom from sin, there's no condemnation. Freedom from law, there's no bondage. Freedom from the old man and flesh by the Spirit. There's no more judgment or condemnation. There's freedom in Christ, which leads you to sin. No.
It don't lead you to sin because you're not going to want to, but gives you the freedom to do that if you choose to.
So,
which is another wrinkle that we.
Let's have a really quick conversation about Arminianism, which is what?
What do you mean by Arminianism?
So the idea that men have complete free will. Right? And so So God doesn't know what you're going to do. That's Arminianism. Right? And then you have Calvinism,
which is that everything is predetermined.
Yeah, completely deterministic. That you actually have no free will. So what if neither one of those arguments
I don't believe either one's really right.
Well, they don't even
You have the freedom to do what you want, but God knows what you're going to do.
Here's my problem with both. I understand theology. I would say I'm adept. I know it well. I do not like it. Specifically for this reason. If I'm an Arminianist, then what I see is that God is somehow limited. Right? If I'm a Calvinist, what I see is that God did not create us with the ability to make decisions. Therefore, much of the Bible is not right. Right? So again, God is limited. He somehow didn't tell us what's real in this all, right? What if it's not about God's character at all?
It's about our character.
It's about us. What if God is just so humble that even though he has complete power, he lets us do
what we want?
Just like the man who owns a boat can let you go from the stern, right? You're free to do the things on it, but it's still his. And he's still in complete control of it. The captain of the vessel
is in control.
That's right. So I don't ever want to infer on God's character something that we just don't understand. To what degree do I have freedom? I don't know. Nobody told me to put the shirt on I have today. But I did buy the shirt, and I was born in the United States, and the skin color, my hair, my nature, what I was exposed to, all of this is not something I was in control of. So maybe somebody did choose the shirt, right? Maybe it was God that did all these things, but I know when I'm not pleasing, when I break a law, that I choose to do it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't want to infer on God's character anything. I don't want to determine who God is or what understanding he is having at any given time. Instead, I want to understand the complexity of the interactions of people for and against his will. And try to be a person that loves him enough to be for his will. And then he'll teach me everything about him. Here and there. I don't need theology for that.
No.
I don't need a place. I'm not a Calvinist. I'm not an Arminianist. I am a compatibilist. God's sovereignty is compatible with whatever man is. Because he gave us the parameters in which we operate. Whatever that means. It's complicated. Just like the Bible.
That's it. We're never going to know it all this side of heaven.
I don't want to know it all.
I don't want to know it all.
I want to trust him. I want to be humble before him. I want to be humble before my fellow people. I want to
that was Eve's problem. She wanted to know it all.
That was Adam's problem.
That was
he
Adam's
wanted to be like God.
Yeah.
Right? That's why, for me, theology is such a complicated endeavor. Because most often we're trying to come to conclusions that we can't possibly actually come to. When really what we should do is go, Lord, how can I be pleasing to you? How can I be 100% pleasing to you in every moment? Teach me. Walk with me. Those are real prayers that mean something. Whether or not we believe God is totally sovereign and we have no free will, I am robot, right? Or we believe that everybody can just choose what they want to and God has no idea. Both of those things are present in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
But is it about God or is it really about people?
It's about people.
It's about people. That's the way I live.
Human history.
It has to be.
Yeah.
So why do we have to be deterministic about who God is? It's not
We
reasonable. I don't want to be. And I don't think anybody needs to be.
We've had wars fought over it, so.
Yeah, over nonsense. That's not humble.
No.
That's not loving your neighbor as
No.
yourself. So we've already failed, right? Okay, so the key verse is, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes."
Yes.
To the Jew first and also the Greek.
Right.
For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, "But the righteous shall live by faith."
Yes.
Whew, that's a good one. What's the argument?
The argument is, Paul argues that the righteousness of God is revealed in the gospel of Christ to a sinful and condemned humanity.
Both Jew and
Gentile.
That's right.
And can be transferred and conferred by faith into the image of Christ.
Into the image of Christ.
Yes.
We're supposed to become the
Right.
image of Christ. That's not apart from the law.
No.
He fulfilled the law.
Right.
Leads us to the law.
Right.
Jeremiah says, "I will put my law in them." You won't go teach everybody, but instead God will teach them to keep the law.
Right. In the key verse there, when he says Greek, he means everybody who isn't Jewish.
Yeah.
That's how that was understood at that time. That not just Greeks.
It's all people.
Yeah.
So under Abraham, all people can be saved.
Right.
Because it's a covenant of faith.
Right.
Under the law, no one can be saved because it's a covenant that
Abraham didn't have the law.
keep.
He wasn't Jewish.
He wasn't Jewish. He was from probably Sumer.
Right.
Right? So, but he did have he had a law of some kind.
Right.
There was a priesthood,
Right.
or at least a sacrificial system that predated. So it's all, stick with us. We're going to get there. There's a lot to talk about. Just touching on the surface of these things excites me like crazy. I really want to go into details, but we can't. This one's getting long.
Right.
We pray for you. We hope that your week is good. We hope that you are touched and blessed, and that you come to know Jesus in such a meaningful way, that you become a convert to the way, and that you be counted among those who come into the kingdom to come, and who are here even today, because it's now, not yet.
Right.
Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to reach out, please do. modernmindancientbook@gmail.com. Pete, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My name's Roger. I'm your host, and we wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for listening.